and I wanted to be paid a fair salary. And I don't know why Mike was so set against it. A series of diminishing behaviors and fewer scenes. So painful because I did feel, oh my God, I am trapped here.
Yeah. After 51 years since Little House on the Prairie first aired, it remains one of the most cherished family television series of all time. A world filled with love, connection, and profound moral lessons. But the truth behind the scenes is far from what audiences have long believed. Karen Grassle, the woman forever associated with the image of the perfect mother on screen, has finally broken her silence. In her memoir, she delivers shocking revelations, exposing secrets that Hollywood has tried to bury for decades. Michael Landon was not the perfect man fans thought he was. He controlled everything on set, even going as far as undermining his co-stars, cutting their roles, and reducing their lines simply because they dared to speak up for fairness. Karen Grassle, with a complicated personal life, once found herself trapped in the spiral of alcohol addiction, turning to drinking as a way to cope with isolation, emotional wounds, and the helplessness of being mistreated on the very set she had devoted herself to. After years of being forgotten, she is now forcing everyone to remember. Her memoir, Bright Lights, Prairie Dust, is not just a personal account. It is Karen Grassle's declaration of war against injustice, manipulation, and the dark side of Hollywood. So, what is the real story behind the scenes of Little House on the Prairie? What hidden truths have been buried for decades? Get ready, because what you are about to hear will forever change the way you see this beloved show. On February 25, 1942, in Berkeley, California, a child was born after her mother had endured 4 painful miscarriages. To the Grassle family, Karen was nothing short of a miracle child they never thought they would have. Karen grew up in Ventura, a peaceful small town where her father, Gene Grassle, ran a gas station, and her mother managed a restaurant. Life was not abundant, but they gave their daughter everything they could. From an early age, Karen displayed an artistic talent that set her apart from other children, but talent alone was not enough. Karen also possessed sharp intellect and an iron discipline. Proof of this came in 1959 when she graduated as valedictorian from Ventura High School, an outstanding achievement that opened the doors to a prestigious university. It seemed her career path would follow an academic trajectory when Karen enrolled at the University of California, Berkeley, majoring in English and drama. She once tried to convince herself that acting was merely a hobby. But the stage lights, the lines, the thrill of stepping into another character's life, it was something she could not walk away from. If I don't try, I will regret it for the rest of my life. That single thought changed everything. Determined to pursue the arts, Karen earned a scholarship to study at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, in London, one of the most prestigious drama schools in the world. It was a turning point that took her far from America and into the world of professional theater, where the most rigorous standards shaped her into a sharp, ambitious, and fearless artist. Karen Grassle had talent, intelligence, and a solid foundation. But would that be enough to conquer Hollywood, a place where opportunity and injustice often go hand in hand? The answer lies in the next chapter of her journey, the bold decisions that led her to the role that changed her life forever. Armed with an outstanding degree from the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, in London, Karen Grassle returned to the United States with a grand dream: to conquer Broadway. But a prestigious degree was just theory. Reality was far more unforgiving. In 1968, Karen made her Broadway debut in The Gingham Dog, an opportunity that seemed poised to open wide the doors to a flourishing career. But then, everything collapsed. The play ran for only a few days before being canceled. No one cared about an unknown actress. Disappointment struck hard, but Karen refused to let it break her. Every closed door only pushed her to find another path. She continued hustling in theater troupes, taking on small roles wherever she could to keep her passion alive. In 1970, she performed in Shakespeare's Cymbeline at the New York Shakespeare Festival. It was a prestigious stage, yet for a young actress without name recognition, it was still not the breakthrough she desperately needed. Perseverance alone wasn't always enough. Karen realized that talent wasn't the sole factor that led to success. She needed something that would make people take notice. So, she made a bold gamble with her own identity. She changed her stage name to Kay Dillinger and fabricated a shocking story, claiming to be the illegitimate daughter of the infamous bank robber John Dillinger. It was a daring move, but not an uncommon one in the entertainment industry. If Hollywood had stars who fabricated personal histories to gain fame, Broadway was no stranger to sensational stunts designed to grab attention. But for Karen, this strategy failed to deliver the results she had hoped for. While the name Kay Dillinger piqued some curiosity, it didn't land her the major roles she needed. Her life became increasingly difficult. Opportunities remained out of reach, her finances dwindled, and she fell into a long period of unemployment. With no other options, she moved back to her parents' home, sleeping on their couch, struggling with the thought of abandoning her acting dream. She even considered returning to school to pursue a stable career, because it seemed as if there was no place for her on stage or television. Broadway had not welcomed Karen Grassle, forcing her to pivot toward television, and that fateful shift would lead her to a level of success beyond her wildest expectations. In 1974, when Karen Grassle was at her lowest, disheartened and on the verge of abandoning her acting dreams, an unexpected opportunity finally arrived. She received an invitation to audition for a new NBC television series, Little House on the Prairie. Based on the beloved book series by Laura Ingalls Wilder, the show went on to become one of the most cherished television dramas of all time, running from 1974 to 1983. It depicted the life of the Ingalls family, a group of hard-working pioneers struggling to build a new life in Minnesota during the late 1800s. Alongside other families, they endured hardship, loss, and the harsh realities of frontier life in the hopes of shaping the growing town of Walnut Grove. The show won 3 Emmy Awards and captivated generations of audiences worldwide. Beyond its heartfelt storytelling, Little House on the Prairie was also known for its unforgettable characters. Charles Ingalls, Michael Landon, the devoted father who worked tirelessly to protect and provide for his family. Laura Ingalls, Melissa Gilbert, the spirited, kind-hearted girl at the heart of the story. Mary Ingalls, Melissa Sue Anderson, the intelligent, gentle eldest daughter whose tragic blindness brought profound emotional depth to the series. Nellie Olson, Allison Arngrim, the spoiled, arrogant town girl who became the show's most unforgettable antagonist. And of course, Caroline Ingalls, the mother, the heart, and the unwavering pillar of strength for the entire family. As the matriarch of the Ingalls household, Caroline was more than just a devoted wife and mother. She was the glue that held the family together, standing by her husband through poverty, illness, and loss. In an era where women were often sidelined from major decisions, Caroline was not only the caretaker of the home, but also a true leader, helping her husband and children endure the toughest trials of pioneer life. But make no mistake, her kindness was not weakness. Fans loved Caroline not only for her warmth and compassion, but also for the strength she carried within. When Charles was at a loss, she made the tough decisions. When the family faced hardship, she stepped up without hesitation, doing the work of any man, plowing fields, building homes, and fighting for survival. She never complained, never broke down. Caroline Ingalls became the ultimate representation of a strong mother, gentle when needed, but fiercely protective of her family when it mattered most. It was this rare combination of resilience and tenderness that made Caroline Ingalls one of the most beloved TV mothers of all time. She was not just Laura Ingalls' mother on screen. She became a symbol of countless women around the world who had quietly sacrificed everything to keep their families together. Karen's journey to landing the role of Caroline Ingalls was just as memorable as the character herself. "I was advised to wear a simple dress and go without makeup for the audition," Karen recalled. "I followed the advice, though I made a small adjustment. The simple wool dress I wore actually cost me quite a bit, considering my tiny income at the time. And while I didn't wear heavy makeup, I did add a little touch to my face." The decision paid off. Just minutes after Karen completed her audition, Michael Landon, who was both the director and lead actor, jumped up and shouted, "Get her to wardrobe and makeup!" Before the audition, Karen had been told she would be reading alongside Michael Landon. She later admitted in an interview that she had seen Bonanza before, but had no idea what role Landon played in it. It was an answer that could have cost her the role, but Karen didn't panic. Instead of pretending to know, she remained honest and natural, qualities that ultimately set her apart from the other 40 actresses vying for the part, and it worked. Her warmth, humility, and authenticity helped her win the role of Caroline Ingalls, the motherly figure who would define her career. "I drew inspiration from my own mother," she once revealed. "Her strength became the foundation for how I portrayed Caroline in Little House on the Prairie." But even after securing the role of a lifetime, fate had more challenges in store for Karen Grassle, ones that would test her resilience both on and off the screen. As Little House on the Prairie became one of the most watched television programs in America, Karen Grassle began to recognize a glaring injustice. Her salary was nowhere near proportionate to her contribution. As the second most central character after Michael Landon, she played a crucial role in maintaining the show's authenticity and emotional depth. Yet compared to other leading actresses in television at the time, her pay was significantly lower. Tensions escalated before the show's second season when Karen Grassle officially requested a salary increase. She wanted her pay to reflect her true value and the impact she brought to the series. However, Michael Landon outright refused. He argued that her salary should be comparable to that of the child actors on the show, a justification that Grassle found deeply insulting. "I felt humiliated to be his co-star on such a popular show," she later recalled. "I didn't want to take advantage of anyone, but I expected fair compensation." What infuriated her even more was Landon's blatant disregard for the importance of her character, Caroline Ingalls. He went as far as saying that audiences didn't see her as famous as she imagined, a remark that not only belittled her talent, but also struck a blow to her self-worth. Soon after, Ma Ingalls, the beloved mother figure of America, began to fade into the background. Karen Grassle's role was gradually minimized, her screen time reduced, and her emotional moments on the show all but disappeared. Landon not only adjusted scripts to sideline her, but he also resorted to sarcasm and ridicule to isolate her on set. He would frequently make fun of her appearance and facial expressions while reviewing footage, turning her into the subject of laughter among the crew. But what shocked Karen Grassle the most wasn't just the cold treatment. It was the increasing vulgarity and crude language that Landon openly displayed. This became especially evident during filming in the Ingalls' modest bedroom set, where some of the male crew members encouraged and egged him on. Mike would say "si ya fa" and tell disgusting stories about how women smelled after sex, Grassle recalled. The comments made her want to disappear, but in 1970s, Hollywood misogynistic remarks were commonplace, and Karen Grassle chose to endure it in silence. "I was nearly paralyzed," she admitted. But as a woman in the film industry back then, I had become so accustomed to these degrading comments that it never even crossed my mind to confront him outright. Things took an even worse turn when Landon deliberately blocked Karen from starring in The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, a major project that could have expanded her career beyond Little House on the Prairie. Landon, who controlled nearly every aspect of the show, refused to allow her any opportunities outside of it. But what crushed Karen Grassle the most wasn't just the unfairness of it all, it was the realization that she couldn't leave. At the time, American television was dominated by only 3 major networks: NBC, ABC, and CBS. If she walked away from a hit series like Little House on the Prairie, her Hollywood career could be over in an instant. She had already seen this happen to actress Sally Struthers from All in the Family. When Struthers fought against contractual restrictions and demanded fairer pay, she was swiftly labeled difficult to work with, and her career nosedived. Karen knew that leaving the show could mean permanent exile from the industry, but staying meant she had little room left to showcase her talent. Trapped between 2 impossible choices, she felt like she was slowly losing herself. "If you're an actor, you want to do meaningful work," she bitterly admitted. "But if you're just showing up every day to pour coffee and then leave, that's not art anymore." Her once promising career was now at a crossroads. Would she continue to endure the injustice, or would she find a way to break free and reclaim what was rightfully hers? The silent battle between Karen Grassle and Michael Landon on the set of Little House on the Prairie didn't just rob her of career opportunities, it also pushed her into another kind of darkness: alcohol. Growing up in a family with a history of alcoholism, Grassle never imagined she would fall into the same cycle. But the pressures, disappointments, and feelings of isolation eventually led her to turn to alcohol as a way to numb the pain. At first, she drank just to unwind after exhausting days on set. But soon, that habit spiraled into an addiction she could no longer control. Nights of drowning in alcohol turned into mornings of brutal hangovers, puffy eyes, throbbing headaches, and a spirit that felt completely drained. She never drank on set, but more than once, she arrived at work still exhausted from the previous night's bender. "I would drink a cup of coffee and drag myself to the makeup trailer," Grassle recalled. "Larry and Whitey, the hair and makeup team, would help put me back together, and I'd step out of that cocoon transformed, wearing Ma's head." On the surface, she continued portraying the perfect mother on screen, but deep down, she knew she was losing herself. Her personal life began to crumble. One bad decision led to another, including an affair with Gil Gerard, a guest star on Little House on the Prairie. The real shock came when Gerard later contacted her to inform her that she might have contracted gonorrhea. Karen Grassle felt more out of control than ever. She withdrew from her colleagues, the very people who had once been her second family on set. Michael Landon, who was already at odds with her over salary disputes, now had even more reason to keep his distance. Worse, he turned her into a running joke on set, mocking her facial expressions and appearance during scene reviews, making her an easy target for ridicule. Karen's patience did nothing to ease the hostility. Instead, it only deepened her sense of being an outsider on the very show she had dedicated herself to. But what finally woke her up wasn't her stalled career or the cold stares on set. It was a friend, the one person who had the courage to tell her the truth. "Karen, I'm an alcoholic, and I think you are too." That sentence hit her like a slap in the face. For the first time, Grassle confronted the reality she had been avoiding. She had lost control of her own life. In 1977, after countless inner battles, she made the decision to quit drinking for good. It wasn't an easy journey, but she knew that if she didn't stop, she would lose everything. With the support of those who stood by her, Grassle took the difficult steps towards sobriety and remained alcohol-free for the next 45 years. It wasn't until she broke free from addiction that she faced a painful realization. What she had truly longed for was never fame or a glittering career. She had always craved stability, a family, a life partner who would stand by her side. The things that Caroline Ingalls had on screen, but Karen Grassle never had in real life. Sobriety gave Karen a second chance, not just at personal recovery, but at reclaiming control over her own life. More importantly, it allowed her to rediscover her strength. The woman who had once dared to stand up against injustice on set was now strong enough to face her own demons. This transformation also played a role in her eventual reconciliation with Michael Landon, who passed away from pancreatic cancer in 1991 at the age of 54. "I'm very grateful that we were able to mend our relationship," she said. But what lay ahead for her? Could she truly start over? And after everything, could Karen Grassle and Michael Landon really find peace with each other? The story was far from over. On screen, Karen Grassle portrayed the devoted matriarch who nurtured and protected her loved ones. But in real life, her romantic life was anything but stable. 3 failed marriages, fleeting love affairs, 2 unplanned pregnancies, and a sexually transmitted disease. Her personal life painted a stark contrast to the gentle motherly image the public had come to know. Reflecting on her tumultuous past, she once admitted, "I lived a very messy life. I lost control of myself." In the late 1960s and early 1970s, when her stage career was struggling to take off, Grassle immersed herself in a reckless, pleasure-seeking lifestyle. The American entertainment media frequently reported on her romantic escapades, fueling endless speculation and gossip. There were moments when she lost complete control, like the time she got drunk on a flight, suddenly became enamored with a stranger sitting next to her, and, without a second thought, went home with him the moment they landed. Looking back, she confessed, "I was a simple and impulsive person, often living in despair and a constant state of inebriation. I have to admit, the men who passed through my life were just as troubled as I was. But these fleeting relationships brought her nothing but pain, regret, and devastating consequences." Even when her career finally began to take off with Little House on the Prairie, she couldn't escape the cycle. During that time, she was engaged and preparing for what she believed would be a stable marriage. Yet, just as she thought she had found happiness, she betrayed her fiancé for Gil Gerard, an actor who had guest-starred on the show. The affair was brief, but its consequences were lasting. A few months after their relationship ended, Gerard contacted Grassle with news that left her in shock. He told her she might have contracted gonorrhea from him. At that moment, she was no longer just a rising television star. She was a woman facing the brutal reality of the reckless choices she had made. After years of indulgence, Karen Grassle eventually sought stability through marriage. But despite walking down the aisle 3 times, she never found lasting happiness. Her first marriage to Leon Russum in 1966 happened during her early struggles in the entertainment industry. 4 years later, they divorced. Karen was still young, caught up in chasing her dreams and not truly ready for family life. After years of heartbreak and failed romances, she thought she had finally found hope with James Radford, a real estate professional. They married in 1982 and adopted a daughter, believing that building a family would bring her the stability she longed for. But deep-seated personal issues and differences in lifestyle quickly surfaced, and after just 5 years, their marriage ended in 1987. Entering the 1990s, Karen made one last attempt at happiness, marrying Scott Sutherland. However, just like her previous 2 marriages, this one also ended in divorce in 1997. 3 marriages, 3 divorces, no children of her own. Karen Grassle had never known what it was like to have a lasting, fulfilling marriage. Although she was never an A-list star, Little House on the Prairie gave Karen Grassle the rare opportunity to be part of one of the most enduring family television series in history. Nearly 50 years later, the show continues to captivate millions of viewers worldwide, airing across multiple platforms and holding a permanent place in the hearts of audiences. For years, Karen Grassle felt trapped in the image of Caroline Ingalls. At one point, she resented being recognized only as Ma, feeling overshadowed by a single role. But over time, her perspective changed. She came to realize that Caroline was not just a character. She was a collective memory, a symbol of resilience, and a mother figure beloved by generations. "I didn't fully understand what Caroline meant to audiences before," she admitted. "But now, I feel proud knowing that the show continues to live on in people's hearts." The values of family, love, and perseverance that Little House on the Prairie conveyed helped it transcend beyond just a television series. The show remains in syndication, continuously attracting millions of viewers on streaming platforms. According to Nielsen Media Research, in 2024 alone, American audiences spent over 13.25 billion minutes watching the show on Peacock, a staggering number that proves its enduring appeal across generations. Beyond television, the show's legacy is also reflected in the overwhelming number of visitors to the Laura Ingalls Wilder Museum in Walnut Grove, which draws around 10,000 visitors annually, fans eager to immerse themselves in the history and stories of the Ingalls family. To celebrate the show's 50th anniversary, Karen Grassle reunited with her former co-stars Melissa Gilbert, Laura Ingalls, and Allison Arngrim, Nellie Olson, at a special fan event. They revisited the old filming locations, met thousands of devoted fans, and shared cherished memories of their time on set. For Karen Grassle, the experience gave her a new perspective on her own legacy. Despite the past conflicts, disappointments, and moments where she wished to leave it all behind, she ultimately realized that she had been part of something truly iconic. More than just a role, Caroline Ingalls became a cornerstone of American pop culture. And beyond Little House on the Prairie, Grassle carried that same strength into her real life, becoming a passionate advocate for women's and children's rights, particularly in the fight against domestic violence. Caroline was an incredibly strong woman with such depth and resilience. "That spirit is something worth living by," she once said. From actress to symbol of empowerment, Karen Grassle's influence extends far beyond television. Little House on the Prairie may have ended, but its legacy, and that of Karen Grassle, lives on in the hearts of millions. After decades in Hollywood, Karen Grassle has chosen a quieter life in Pacific Palisades, California, where she lives with her daughter and enjoys her peaceful years. Staying away from the noise of the entertainment industry, she avoids social media and rarely makes public appearances. However, she still participates in select special fan events for Little House on the Prairie, a way to honor the unwavering love that audiences continue to hold for the show and her iconic role as Caroline Ingalls. Although she is no longer actively pursuing a film career, Grassle's passion for the arts remains. She continues to act in theater productions and smaller projects, though without the career-driven intensity of her younger years. On January 5, 2025, she made a rare appearance in a video on the official Little House cast Facebook page, reminiscing about the first day of filming, a moment that sparked overwhelming excitement among longtime fans. This simple yet powerful gesture proved that even after all these years, the show's influence remains deeply embedded in the hearts of the public. Now 83 years old, Karen Grassle no longer seeks the spotlight, but instead finds joy in life's simple pleasures, family, art, and cherished memories that stand the test of time. She has come to terms with the challenges of her past, embracing the fact that Little House on the Prairie and her role as Caroline Ingalls will always be the greatest legacy of her life, an unforgettable chapter that continues to resonate with generations of fans. From a struggling young actress searching for her place in the industry, Karen Grassle became an irreplaceable part of one of the greatest family television series of all time. She experienced triumphs and heartbreaks, battles and losses, yet through it all, she remained resilient, leaving behind a legacy that is cherished both on-screen and in real life. What are your thoughts on Karen Grassle's turbulent journey? How has her portrayal of Caroline Ingalls and her real-life story left an impact on you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to stay with us as we continue exploring the inspiring stories of Hollywood's greatest legends.